A very good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of the Law and Representation Committee of the Goods and Service Tax Practitioners Association, I warmly welcome you all to the 8th Study Circle meeting for the year 25-26. Today's session is on a very relevant and timely topic, analysis of first GSTAT judgment in the case of Sterling and Wilson Private Limited and the road ahead. We are honored to have our eminent speaker, GSTPM's Joint Secretary, Advocate Rahul Thakur, who will guide us through this important development in GST jurisprudence. But before we begin the session, I would request our president and the LNR team will address on the few PTRC issues that we all are facing recently and will make some important announcements. President, over to you.
किधर है ये? आता नहीं है। मैं मेरा साली दाढ़ी दिखाई दे रहा है। उमंग अभी Good afternoon, all members, whoever are present online and also offline. Now, we are all very eager to listen to Rahul Bhai. But before that, right now, the only issue on everyone's mind is PT, profession tax. And we've had several meetings with the commissioner. We've had several meetings with the joint commissioner. And close to 9 representations have already gone by the GSTPM in the last few months. The latest being just today, some hours back, the representation has gone not just to the commissioner over here, it has gone to Mantralaya also. And GSTPM, as usual, is extremely serious about what are the issues which are there. And we have, even during the meeting that we had with the commissioner, there was a very, very candid talk stating that issues are real and the preponement of date would have been fine if everything was working very smoothly, but it is not. So we've also stated several things like even if the dates are not postponed now and the dates remain the same, even otherwise, please look into it that the late fees are waived. Now, these are several of the things that we have stated. So, Umang has prepared a lovely representation on all the points. Umang, just quickly go through all the points that we have.
Thank you, President. So basically what the issues that we faced, we had discussed on the 11th as well when we met the Joint Commissioner. And we've raised several issues from the portal and technical issues like the OTP generation issues. Now, to that extent, now department has done some liberalization and without the need of say either the email OTP or the mobile OTP, you are able to reset it. However, the main problem still remains is that the website is not functional. Today morning itself also the website was not accessible. So people are really anxious on these issues. The other issues with respect to the website instability, returns for the earlier periods not being available, especially 2020-23 and prior. There are several people are facing missing months in the return finding module. Say they are filing the September month, and then if you are going for the October is not coming. The late fees are being calculated for a revised return. That issue is also pointed out. Payments not getting reflected in the module, especially for the October 2026 period. Carry forward and brought forward issues still are there, where even if you've shown correctly in the previous period, it is not being brought forward into the next. Challan rectification facilities not made available. Several issues in registration and the cancellation. So registration applications not being made, old PT cancellation applications remaining pending and now are lost in the system on account of the moving to the new module. PAN migration issues where more than 2.36 lakh taxpayers are affected. So all these issues have been brought to the notice of the PT department as well. And even though they were positive about it, currently they are still saying that we should make the payment. So our advice also to everyone would be, please make the payment if possible, even if return is not being made. We are rigorously following up with the department so that even if they don't delay the date, the late fees get waived. So yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Umang. I would like to really appreciate the entire LNR team, Pranav Bhai and Umang Bhai, who have done a fabulous job on almost on a daily basis. Pranav Bhai was a president when GST came in. I think on a daily basis we were not even representing GST issues. Sir, what happens is now with the State Department, this is the only thing which is there. And let me tell you, this is what the commissioner has said very candidly. There is a target crunch. There is a target which the department has not been able to meet, and that is why they want to ensure that maximum revenue is optimized. Now they also want to nudge people that whoever has not taken registration should take registration as early as possible. So I request everyone, see the clients, there will be nerves on the side of the clients, and also, but eventually the late fee also for a month is about 200 rupees. Now, as much as possible, you try to make the payment and everything. But even if it is not, ensure that you keep all the records that the website was not working and everything. Eventually, something will come out where there will be some kind of a relief that may flow by the department. So that is why I thank everyone for giving us a patient hearing. And now we'll move to our main subject matter by Rahul ji. That too is a very important subject because you see, we've been talking about GSTAT, and for the longest time we almost forgot कि भाई GSTAT कभी आने वाला है कि नहीं आने वाला है. But it so happens that in Delhi, the NPA authority is acting like a tribunal and has started hearing cases, and some good one judgment which is good, along with few of the issues which are there in that judgment. So that is why no better than Rahul Bhai, our joint secretary, to take up this issue. So thank you, Rahul Bhai, for taking up this issue. And I welcome everyone, and I request the organizers to take over now. Okay.
Thank you very much, President, for keeping our members updated with the PTRC issues and the representations made by the LNR committee and continued guidance to the members of GSTPM. Today's topic is extremely significant as it deals with the first decision of GST Appellate Tribunal. So it is therefore my pleasure to introduce our learned speaker, the Joint Secretary of our association, Advocate Rahul Thakur, for today. Rahul Thakur practices as an advocate at CB Thakur and Company. Rahul Thakur is a law graduate predominantly practicing in the field of indirect taxes since last 12 years. He also holds professional degrees of Chartered Accountancy from ICAI and Company Secretary. Before joining CB Thakur and Company, Rahul Thakur was assisting Mr. V. Sridharan, Senior Advocate of High Court and Tribunal Matters. Advocate Rahul Thakur regularly appears before Bombay High Court, MSTT and CSTAT. His practice domain includes GST, VAT, service tax, excise, entry tax, stamp duty, state excise, and allied laws. He has delivered talks on GST at various forums, industry associations, and seminars, and also delivered lectures at WIRC, GSTPM, BCAS, CTC, AIFTP, and other associations across India. His experience spans across sectors such as manufacturing, IT industry, e-commerce, FMCG, financial services, media and entertainment. Currently, he is the Honorable Joint Secretary of GSTPM for the year 2025-26. With that, we welcome Advocate Rahul Thakur. Now, I would request our President to offer him as a token of appreciation, a memento. Yeah, before we begin the lecture, I would request our Chairman of Law and Representation Committee, CA Pranav Kaparia, to kindly share a few words with the members.
So good afternoon, everybody. Respected President Parth Badeka, the office bearers on the dais, speaker of today's session, Advocate Rahul Thakur, my friends and colleagues sitting in this GSTPM library, and those who are online. A very good afternoon to all of you. Well, the journey for in-depth study continues at GSTPM. This is the 8th study circle meeting for 25-26, and I'm really glad that we are having a very good technical session today. And more important so because we are today the topic that we are going to deal upon, or Advocate Rahul Thakur is going to, analyze the judgment of Sterling and Wilson. The first GSTAT judgment, GSTAT, which we all have been looking forward to. It's already been almost the 9th year since onset of GST, and now the first judgment of GSTAT has come, and I think that's the only judgment. I don't see the second or the third judgment following thereafter. But yeah, I think this is the only judgment, and it has some very important facets to it, which we all need to understand. How the GSTAT is, deciding the matters, and of course the facts of that matter and what the judgment has delivered. It is going to have a big impact on all of us. So I'm really thankful to the president and the entire team that this topic has been chosen for in-depth study today. So once again, I think we are looking forward to Rahul for an elaborate analysis and an in-depth analysis of this judgment. Just one more factor, I think, which about PT, which Umang and Parth Badeka, both of them mentioned. I would just like to add that the profession tax PTEC due date, the talk which we had with the Joint Commissioner, and they have mentioned that 31st March of the financial year is the due date for paying the profession tax for PTEC, that 2,500 rupees, where the PTEC number is taken, there the limit is, the amount is 2,500. And PTRC, the date remains as 15th of March itself. That is the 15th of the ensuing month. For the annual return, it remains at 15th March. Of course, lots of representations have gone, and also regarding the preponement of the dates. But yeah, the dates were preponed before the annual return due date came in. So I think technically they were right in preponing the date. So that has come. But yeah, nonetheless, the only message which we could gather from the meetings which we have had, that there is an urgency of tax collection by the department. The methodology does not seem to be right. The way they have, we can say they have, again, without a proper verification of the website and the proper all the sandbox testings which they were required to do, they have not done that. Their vendors also changed in between. They have their own excuses, but I think as a final user, I think we should have the right to get the proper website, the proper portal. So there are limitations and issues. We have made rigorous representations both at commissioner level and at finance minister level. And let's hope that we get an extension for the date. And again, as Parth rightly said, the target is to generate the revenue. The department feels that the profession tax has been not adhered to. It's a neglected area both by the taxpayers as well as the department, and they have they're set their targets for recovery of the profession tax dues, and that is what the entire message appears to be appearing from the discussions we've had with the commissioners. So let's hope for the best that we get a proper extension. Let's try to pay the taxes in time. Wherever OTP issues are there, I know it will be difficult to take the registration, but wherever challan payments are possible and wherever there are dues which are pending and which can be done to the extent, kindly do it. And wherever possible, take the screenshots, as also mentioned by Parth, that whatever errors you are getting, qua that particular PT number. So I think that needs to be added to. And yes. Yeah. So two more points regarding this. GSTPM has also circulated a Google sheet wherein you can mention the difficulties that you are mentioning. This will be attached to the representations that we have made to the commissioner and to the finance minister. So that will go as a proof further of the efforts being made by the respective professionals. So whatever issues are there with respect to that, you can mention there. And secondly, as mentioned by the Joint Commissioner on 11th, they have started the service request on the portal, and which is also working. So at both places, you can register your complaints, and that should be taken care of. So once again, thank you everyone for a patient hearing. And now over to Rahul for a very interesting session on the GSTAT, first GSTAT judgment. Thank you very much. Over to you, Rahul.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I can just sharing as incorrectly happened. Sharing as incorrectly. You shared the.
मैंने ये प्रवीण ने किया. स्क्रीन ही कर दो ना सीधा, एंटायर स्क्रीन.
नहीं.
ओके, आगे. Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, I take this opportunity to thank GSTPM, my president Shripad Badeka, LNR chairman Shri Pranav Kapadia, my colleagues in the committee, and my friends and colleagues in the association and the bar. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It is indeed a pleasure to always speak to on any topic before this August members. And today's topic is the first judgment which the GSTAT has delivered on the in the month of February 26. And we are today here to analyze that judgment along with the way forward, what to do after this judgment. Because I'm sure everybody has already prepared a list of GSTAT filings, or at least started filing a few of the appeals. So what should be the practice while filing the GSTAT appeals, and how to take benefit of this judgment if at all it is in our favor. So let's just directly go to the facts of this case. So this judgment is basically where the appellant had filed the appeal. Appellant was a registered tax person, Sterling and Wilson, engaged in the business of engineering, procurement, construction business. The tax period was 1819 period, and the core issue was the mismatch between GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B returns. There was a shortfall of 27 lakhs in GSTR 3B compared to GSTR 1. And that is what resulted in ultimately the demand at the end of demand by the proper officer in the form of adjudicating order. And then it was confirmed by the appeal officer with conversion from section 74 notice to 73 notice. So the adjudication journey, if you can see in the table format, the order in original raised a demand of tax of 27 lakhs, interest of 11 lakhs, penalty of 27 lakhs because they invoked section 74, total 65 lakhs. The first appeal has made a finding that 74 is wrongly invoked. Therefore, I now determine the tax as 27 lakhs, interest is 15 lakhs, and penalty is 2.71 lakhs. There is 10% under section 73 and total 45 lakhs. Now coming to the, we can skip this reconciliation part. This is, I will get this in the, it is from the order itself. Why there was a difference was because there were certain advances which were received in 1718 and paid in the GSTR 3B of 1718 but reversed in 1819. and therefore the 3B liability was reduced to that extent. That entry does not come in GSTR 1. That is one. Two, there were other credit notes which were issued for which entries were not passed in GSTR 1 because they were beyond the time limit prescribed under the law. And though the judgment does not say so specifically, they only say that this were beyond 32(4) time limits, but exactly what time limit, whether it was covered by the provision of section 16(4), 16(5), we don't know. Okay, so I'm not going to that topic at all right now, because that is only an assumption. We cannot make assumption in this kind of cases. As far as facts is concerned, we have to go through the case only. So those credit notes which were beyond the time limit of 32(4) were not taken in GSTR 1, but the effect of that was given in 3B of 1819. And therefore, that was disallowed by the proper officer. And one debit note which actually increased the liability. So that is not required, but that is forming part of the calculation given the order, and therefore I have extracted over here. So let's go directly to the observations made by the GST. The first observation is in para 1. Now this observation is, according to me, though it is in 3 lines, but this observation is little bit of a eyewash according to me. Okay, I will not say that this is an observation which is against us or in favor of us. What the Honorable GSTAT has held is, relying upon VS Products versus Additional Commissioner Bombay decision, that is of Goa bench, the defects pointed out are ignored. Now, what was the defect? We don't know. Exactly why this, because if I go through that judgment of Goa bench, it only says that instead of under 109, the appeal has to, after 107 order, first appeal order, the appeal has to go to the state bench or national bench according to the issue. The Goa bench held in that judgment that you may go to the principal bench. Even though you are in Bombay, you are in Maharashtra, since the state bench is not yet formed, you may go to the principal bench and argue it over there. That is what the judgment of Honorable Goa bench is, of the High Court. But the GSTAT has relied on the judgment to say that relying upon VS Products, the defects pointed out are ignored. Now, what was the defect is not mentioned anywhere in the order, according to me. Okay, in my reading of the order, I did not find anything. Whether that judgment is relevant for any technical defects in filing appeal to be condoned by GSTAT, or whether substance over form approach should be adopted, that is, the appeal, even if it is filed in state bench or principal bench, it does not matter. Even the law may say so under 9 that it has to go to state bench, but you can still file to the principal bench. And therefore, whether that is the message which is to be conveyed by that particular para, or whether matters heard on merits, not dismissed on technicalities, is what they wanted to say. I am not sure, because that is not coming out of that para 1 at all. Okay, so I'll keep it open, because until we have proper facts on that, we cannot have any analysis of that particular observation. Coming to the second particular observation, I would say, in the further para 3.2, the Honorable GSTAT has held that the earlier amount of tax was 27 lakhs, 2.7 was already paid, therefore balance tax demand is 24 lakhs, right? Now this is what the provision, Praveen, GST book there, right? Now, what is the meaning of this particular observation? I mean, this may be obiter, or it may be just to say that 27 lakhs the tax demand, 2 lakhs is already paid. And therefore, sorry, I'll just take out the provision once. Just 1 minute. So whether they wanted to say that 24 lakhs is the now balance demand, and therefore you're liable to pay 10% on this 24 lakhs or not, according to me, that this is something which is gray area again. It is not clarified. They only stated that one thing is clear, that whatever pre-deposit you have made is adjusted toward tax. Okay, that becomes clear from this observation of the Honorable GST. But what will be the 10% pre-deposit requirement in such cases where 27 lakh was the tax demand, already 10% has been paid. So the 10% which we now require to make payment in GST, whether that has to be of 24 lakhs of original 27 lakhs or yes sir. Yes sir. Okay.
So, can it not be said that in the first appellate authority's order? Can it not be said that in the first appellate authority's order, whatever the pre-deposit that was made has been appropriated against the tax demand, or it gets automatically appropriated against the tax demand, and therefore the fresh demand order, which is nothing but the summary of the order, which is DRC 07, gets amended or rectified or corrected appropriately, and that liability register gets amended on the GST online portal. Does it happen? Because I am also not aware of it.
Right.
But it may be the thing, and that is the reason that balance 24 lakhs rupees would be the amount of the net demand which is remaining after the first appellate authority's order, of which 10% is to be calculated.
Okay. So now what sir is trying to say is, once that 2.7 lakhs is deposited and that demand is still there over and above 2.7 lakhs, the first appellate authority's order will pass an order appropriating that 2.7 lakhs, reducing your original liability to whatever amount it comes to. Therefore, now you are liable to pay only 10% of the balance demand. What sir is trying to say. Now, this is a... Yes, sir. Pranav bhai ko back do.
The pre-deposit to be paid for filing the tribunal appeal is 10% of the amount of tax in dispute. So whatever may be the adjustment which the portal may be doing, if we are disputing the tax amount, then the 10% should be, I think that should be inclusive, and we should not reduce that 10% once again, because if the portal has not correctly appropriated or incorrectly appropriated that, then maybe our pre-deposit should be 10% of amount of tax in dispute.
Okay.
That is my contention.
So what Pranav bhai's argument is that we should make payment of entire 2.7 lakhs while going to GST 80, because 27 lakhs is the tax in dispute.
I will counter this.
There is a counter also to this. So I am not the GST 80 today, but then I get to judge this.
Because what happens when the first appellate authority confirms the demand, he raises again that 27 lakh rupees. But what demand remains to be paid is only 24 lakhs. I am disputing 27 lakhs. But the demand that has remained payable is 24 lakhs. Therefore, I will pay only 10% of 24 lakhs.
Just
Now let us see what provisions is about the pre-deposit.
I'll come to this.
so in the provision.
That's why I just said that it will be appropriated, the earlier pre-deposit will be appropriated, and the balance you have to pay. No, but we are disputing the entire amount. What is it?
So I agree with
Yeah, after the dispute, we paid the amount. So it is appropriated and there is an acceptable.
There, see, when you are in the court, only appellant and the respondent can argue. The audience cannot argue. So no cross talks. Everybody, please, will get a chance to become an appellant or a respondent, both. I'm not going to decide at all.
so the only
We'll see
thing,
that.
so I agree with Pranav bhai to because we are actually disputing the entire amount, but the words used are remaining amount of tax remaining in dispute. So whether that remaining ka interpretation can be done as Dinesh bhai is saying.
Excellent reading by Mr. Umang Talati. Correct. Okay. I will take before I give my analysis, let us just read that provision. Now we are digressing from the judgment for a minute. Okay. This is important. That is why I am taking it. Okay. Now let us say, because there is an observation of this is the balance tax demand. Let us take what does it mean? If we read section 111, subsection 8, clause B. Okay. No appeal shall be filed under subsection 1 of section 112 unless the appellant has paid. A, we all know, that is amount admitted, you have to pay tax, interest and penalty. And there again, there is a gray area. If I do not accept 100% penalty, I accept only 73 penalty, that 10% only has to be paid. All those things. We'll keep it aside for the minute. Coming to B. A sum equal to... A juna book diya yaar. I'll take my 20%. 10% हो गया. नहीं वो उस Okay, it reads a sum equal to 10% of the remaining amount of tax in dispute. Okay. In addition to, there's a comma, and then in addition to the amount paid under subsection 6 of section 107. So we have to interpret two things. One is, what is the remaining amount of tax in dispute? 10% of that has to be paid. And that is in addition to the amount paid under first appeal, arising from the said order. Now, what is that said order? Original order. Okay, so it is not appeal order. This counters your argument. That's what I'm saying. Here it says arising from the said order. Correct. Right, right. So, because earlier when you said original order, it was countering your argument. Correct, correct. So, if you say 112.1, it says any person agreed by an order passed under 107. And the said order will refer to the order passed under 107. So, now I'll once again read clause B. A sum equal to remaining amount of tax in dispute arising from the said order of 107. 24 lakhs in this case would be the tax in dispute arising out of the said order in 107, that is first appeal order. Therefore, whether 10% of 2.4 lakhs has to be paid is the... Yes.
Is there specifically said that the order you are challenging of the first appellate authority?
112.1 says no.
Okay, so the question
Now when you are challenging,
means remaining of after reducing.
I'll come to that. I'll come to that. Okay. At least we are, हाँ. नहीं प्रैक्टिकल भूल जाओ सर. APL 4 में तो क्या आता है समझ में नहीं आता है. वही तो प्रॉब्लम है. APL 4 में क्या आता है वो तो समझ में ही नहीं आता है. मैं आपको बताऊंगा. There is a net demand of 85 lakhs. Still the APL 4 says that there is a demand under IGST of 3 lakhs. Interest of so and so, so and so. तो आप वो उसके हिसाब से जाओगे तो समझ में ही नहीं आएगा. तो एक बार वो भी ले लूंगा. I am taking that point also for you. What 112.1 says that a person agreed by an order passed against him under section 107. So that is the order against which you file an appeal under 112.1. 112 subsection 8 clause B, when it refers to said order, means an order under section 107. Yes, correct. नहीं आप earlier बोले ना तो मैं बोला तो that counters your argument. Now, if that is the order to be taken, or rather the balance tax, the remaining amount of tax in dispute arising out of the first appeal order has to be taken as the basis for 10% calculation, then 2.4 lakhs has to be paid. Okay, this is in addition to 2.7 lakhs already paid by the first appeal order. This sounds perfectly well. Okay, but there are various other interpretations. I'll take you through the examples and show it to you. Okay. Let's take the example. Now, this is the example. Adjudication order resulted in a demand of 2 crores. When I go in appeal, I make the payment of 20 lakhs. So, balance payable would be 1 crore 80 lakhs. The first appeal order, thereafter, तड़का डालते ना थोड़ा मजा आएगा. I got some partial relief in the first appeal. The first appeal order resulted in a net taxable demand of now 80 lakh rupees. Okay. So 2 crore से मेरा liability हो गया 80 लाख. नहीं ना, मेरे को रिलीफ मिला 1 crore 20 lakh का रिलीफ मिला मुझे. Okay. So now the tax demand in first appeal order is of 80 lakhs. Okay. I have already paid pre-deposit of 20 lakhs. The balance payable would now come to 60 lakhs. Okay. Now tell me what should be my, and I'm going to go in appeal to GST 80 against this first appeal order of 80 minus 20, 60 lakhs. What should be the pre-deposit paid by me.
So, no, excellent. Two interpretations. Dinesh Bhai's interpretation says you need to pay 6 lakhs more. 6 lakhs, that is first. And Pranav Bhai's interpretation is 80 lakhs ka 20%.
नहीं, प्रणव भाई का इंटरप्रिटेशन 20 lakhs.
50 lakhs का 20% minus 20 lakhs paid. अगर वो
प्रणव भाई का इंटरप्रिटेशन is tax in dispute at the time of original order. Then as per the appeal order, तो 8 लाख रुपया भरने का.
80 lakhs का 20% कितना आता है देखने.
नहीं ना भैया. अरे 20% नहीं है ना, अभी 10% डायरेक्टली.
डिमांड देगा भाई.
नहीं
60 लाख आएगा डिमांड में फर्स्ट अपील में, क्योंकि 10 लाख 20 लाख को भर दिया है.
अरे पर
सुन मेरा बात सुन. वो सुनना भाई, दो मिनट. तो क्या है ना, तू वो 20 लाख रुपया तेरा डिमांड के सामने प्री डिपॉजिट एडजस्ट होगा. तेरा DRC 07 में डिमांड आएगा तेरा
60 lakhs का ही.
APL 4 में.
सॉरी, जो भी है DRC 07,
APL 4.
लेकिन DRC 07 रिवाइज होता है. मेरे हिसाब से होना चाहिए, क्योंकि
नहीं
दैट
होता
इज व्हाट इज द डिमांड.
नहीं होता है.
Under GST, there is no separate demand notice. DRC 07 is demand notice. So they have to revise DRC 07. Then only they can revise the liability appearing on the GST portal. अगर वो डिमांड नोटिस नहीं इशू कर रहे हैं तो प्रॉब्लम है. They have to see, you read rule.
APL 4 में ही करते हो.
तो वो लफड़ा है उसका. DRC 07 they have to revise. Your liability, net liability will come to rupees 60 lakh because he will be appropriating your 20 lakh against the demand. So you will be paying pre-deposit on 60 lakh rupees.
Okay.
Amount in dispute will be 80. Amount demand will be of 60 lakhs only.
Remaining amount dispute, if it is 80, then if I go by the words, I have to pay 8 lakh rupees.
Remaining amount payable in dispute.
हाँ,
भाई,
remaining
your
amount
remaining
payable
amount
dispute नहीं,
payable in
remaining amount in
dispute.
dispute है. Payable
पढ़ना वापस एक बार पढ़. वापस एक बार पढ़.
a sum equal to 10% of the remaining amount of tax in dispute. It doesn't say
You
payable.
interpret it in remaining amount payable.
नहीं. वो
You
your
dispute is 60
interpretation.
lakhs. वो ऐसा आर्ग्यू करना पड़ेगा.
That is your interpretation. Yes.
Electronic liability ledger also, if we go, it shows the demand which is levied, then it shows the pre-deposit payment towards demand, and then the remaining payable demand. So if we go for the words of remaining tax of dispute, then it clearly shows in liability ledger what was the tax of dispute amount which is levied on the appellant. So if we go for that, then it should be 10% of 80 lakhs, that is 8 lakh. That is my...
वो appropriate बात का बात है. आपको डिमांड लेटर में
Time pass कर रहा हूँ.
उसमें प्री डिपॉजिट पे 20 लाख.
रूल 142 है ना, DRC 07 का रूल 142.
Yes.
142 पर उसको लिखते हैं बोलो कि DRC 07 is the demand notice. They have to revise the demand notice.
So let's. Okay. मैं मेरा अभिप्राय रखता हूँ थोड़ा. I am giving 3 options.
शख्सियत मेरे को पता है.
Option A, 10% of the original demand. Okay. अगर ignores relief granted basically, तो 20 lakhs नहीं होगा, actually 8 lakhs होगा यहाँ पे, as per the appeal order जो होगा वो 8 lakhs होगा, ठीक है. 10% of the balance payable, which comes to 6 lakhs, which we saw this. The third option, nil additional deposit required. Why? If you see, I have to make 107 plus 112, 20% of deposit of the tax disputed. Tax disputed now is 80 lakhs. 80 lakhs का 20% में देखूंगा तो कितना आता है? 16 लाख रुपया. मैंने तो 20 लाख ऑलरेडी भर के रखा है. मेरे तो 4 लाख रिफंड मिलना चाहिए. बराबर है. They cannot ask me to make deposit over and above this 20 lakhs again. According to me, that will be illogical. Either they give me the refund of that pre-deposit pertaining to 1 crore 20 lakhs relief, which is already granted to me, 12 lakhs, and then I make the payment of 8 lakhs or 6 lakhs, whatever I have to make. Or they should not ask me any pre-deposit. For the amount which I have already deposited towards the relief granted to me in first appeal, I am entitled to refund, or that should be adjusted towards my pre-deposit to be made in GST 80. This has to be argued out. Nothing has been come on this right now. वो डिपार्टमेंट वाले तो 1 लाख एक रजिस्ट्री में से तो फोन आते हैं 1%, मतलब सॉरी, व्हेन यू गो बाय द 16 लाख 6 लाख रुपीज वाला जो बेसिकली यू आर पेइंग 19%, राइट? वो 1% के लिए उनका फोन आएगा आपको रजिस्ट्री में से, पेमेंट करके दो। तो अभी नील के लिए तो प्रेसिडेंट तक जाना पड़ेगा अपने को। राइट, वो क्या बोल रहे थे?
पीछे वाला स्लाइड दिखा रहा हूं, 80 लाख का डिमांड के सामने 20 लाख बराबर, 60 लाख के डिमांड के सामने 20 लाख बराबर।
So when I get the relief of 1 crore 20 lakhs, that is the additional PWD I had made at that time. The government cannot benefit out of it, right? तो वो either मेरे को रिफंड करो, मैं उसमें से वापस से 6 लाख 8 लाख जो बनने का भरूंगा, या तो फिर वो जो एक्सेस पेमेंट किया है वो एडजस्ट करो। You can't have both ways. You can't ask party to make over and above what you have done.
Rationale is this, that is 20 lakh rupees is should adjust first appellate authority and revise the demand notice.
हाँ,
That is the
नहीं रिवाइज भी कर दो तो भी वो रिफंड तो देने वाले हैं नहीं सर आपको। Sir, I don't want appropriation. I want that my part payment should not be there itself. I don't want a pre-deposit to GST 80. वैट में बैलेंस टैक्स पेएबल पे 10% भरने का क्लियरली लिखा हुआ था अंदर सेक्शन 65 अरे 26 6C, ठीक है, उसमें डिफिनेशन था व्हाट इज बैलेंस टैक्स पेएबल, इसमें नहीं है।
डिमांड अगर आप डीआरसी देखेंगे ना तो डीआरसी में आपका डिमांड जो अटैचमेंट में है उसमें 60 दिखेगा, बट जो वो उसका फॉर्मेट में है
चलो
डीआरसी 7 उसमें आपको 80 दिखेगा
काउंट। अच्छा, एडिशनल पॉइंट जो राव साहब ने लिया था, प्रैक्टिकली क्या होता है। ओके, आप पोर्टल पे जाओगे ना, पोर्टल पे अकॉर्डिंग टू मी देयर पोर्टल इज नॉट सफिशिएंट टू केटर टू जीएसटी एट ऑल। एक तो पहले 3 हेड में वो लोग डिमांड निकालते हैं, बट ये 3 हेड में जो डीआरसी 07 में डिमांड निकालते हैं वो ऑर्डर में नहीं दिखता है। ऑर्डर में उन्होंने एक ही कॉमन ऑर्डर डिमांड निकाल दिया है। इफ यू गो बाय द सर्कुलर्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ interest calculation under section 50 subsection 3, that circular says that you have to see the entire buckets, all 3 heads as a common pool. Okay, so if let's say the demand is of ITC, you have to see the common pool, right? But when they raise the demand in DS 07, they demand separately. मेरे को समझो CGST SGST में पूरा बेनिफिट मिल गया, जीरो हो गया, आई एम एंटाइटल्ड टू रिफंड। IGST में थोड़ा डिमांड रहा, स्टिल if you go by the logic, I have to make payment for IGST and go to appeal. Whereas I have already deposited towards CGST which is now refundable to me. They cannot keep it and ask me to make payment further. That is illogical. That should be adjusted towards the IGST demand. They are not doing it because their system doesn't allow it. तो practically तो मेरे हिसाब से कोई GST में implications बहुत अलग है. We cannot reconcile that with the statute at all.
Pre-deposit to be paid on GST portal, other things to be done on GST portal.
Correct.
Also, but then what is effort which reads as the said amount deposited by the tax collector will be adjusted against the amount of pre-deposit required to be deposited at the time of filing appeal before the appellate tribunal.
हाँ, वो that is sir, वो that is 10% for GST. अभी क्या हो रहा है? The FAQ which you are referring to is for the GST 80 appeal itself. Correct. तो उसमें क्या हो रहा है? Till the time the appeal module is there, they started with the procedure that आप 10% भरो, okay, and annexure I file कर दो. तो उसके लिए वो दिया हुआ है. It is not for the first appeal pre-deposit that you will be adjusting towards this. वो अलग है FAQ. So let's go further. हाँ, वो circular FAQ. Why I was referring to the pre-deposit thing is because that is where we save money for the clients basically. There are other observations. One of the observations by the revenue in this Sterling and Wilson was that the tribunal is like a second appeal under section 100 of the CPC, and therefore they cannot go into the facts of the case which was not there already on record. Nobody can bring any additional documents, evidences at the GST 80 stage. There, the tribunal has given a clear finding. Firstly, section 100 of CPC is different from our GST provisions. Secondly, I am not a high court. Section 100 applies to appeals to high court, where there is a clear-cut definition of question of law, and only question of law can be taken up to High Court, which we have in the further provision under section 117, etc. in GST law. So there's a bifurcation given. For High Court, the question of law only can be argued. GST 80, no such limitation under section 112. Evidence, High Court does not allow any evidence, neither they can reappreciate any evidence. GST 80, Rule 112 permits fresh evidence. Powers, there is restricted to legal questions only. GST 80, powers of the civil code, but it can go beyond civil code also. It is their own powers. Procedure, it is bound by CPC, High Court. GST 80, not bound by CPC. Okay, so this is what the observations of the tribunal in this case is regarding their powers. It is not limited to any question of law. It can go into the facts. And in fact, they held that GST 80 has power to examine questions of facts also, and is the last adjudicating forum on questions of facts. That we all know that tribunals are last fact-finding authority. So they cannot curtail that power themselves. And that is what the other observations are, and which is a very relevant and vital observation, because we all know most of these matters going to the GST 80 are either half-baked or not baked at all. Okay, why I say half-baked or not baked at all? Whether it is NGTP cases, whether it is normal reconciliation cases, no, I have seen that out of 6 out of 10 cases, the consultants have not even got time to represent properly. Since last 1.5 years, if we see, first they issue notice for that, मतलब audit से notice में convert होता है, उसके लिए time नहीं देता है, सर आज का आज reply कर दो, नहीं तो notice issue करना पड़ेगा. उसके बाद 3 महीने के अंदर notice आ जाता है, उसके बाद 3 महीने के अंदर order आ जाता है, उसके बाद वो 18-19 का हुआ, बाद में 19-20 का हुआ, अभी 19-20 का अभी order 31st March तक उनको release करना है सब. So nobody has got actual time to give the proper reconciliation. Despite giving that, the officers don't put it correctly in the order. When you go take it to first appeal officer भी revenue collection के लिए बैठे हुए हैं. Nobody is listening to you on merits at all. So there again, it is coming to a half-baked order with no proper reconciliations coming on record despite making proper submissions. So all those cases, according to me, GST 80 is going to remand it back to the proper officers or to the first appeal stage, whichever is relevant. And additional evidences can definitely be brought even at the tribunal level, because many times we also forget to make the addition submissions in the first appeal stage or the adjudication. That's why this is relevant. Now, there's another para 23 where the tribunal has made some observations that first appeal findings were on credit notes not issued within time limit under section 34(2). Reconciliation gaps in GST 9 and 9C. However, 74 penalty not accepted, converted it to 73(9) with 10% penalty instead of 100% penalty. Now, this first appeal findings, firstly, tribunal appreciated, yes, that when it is in the books of accounts, there can be no allegation of suppression. Very good. So they say transactions disclosed in books of accounts is equal to no suppression. Debit credit notes disclosed and supported with invoices. All transactions duly accounted books lapse only in procedural return reporting. That is clear finding of the GST 80, which is going to help us in 9 out of 10 cases. Okay. However, the second part is, on reporting again. The only mistake is non-reflection of debit credit notes, though duly accounted books of accounts, books in periodical returns. Full disclosure in books maintained. No fraud or suppression can be found in these cases. Issue in compliance mismatch in returns only. But at the same time, they also allowed the amendment. Now, this is very important. We have seen that whenever we go to the officer saying that, sir, after the September or now November, sir, मेरा ये GSTR 1 में रह गया है, मुझे करना है. They say that I cannot do anything. System does not allow me. The GST 80 tribunal in this decision clearly says you can make an amendment application manually to the officer and he has to consider it on its own merits. Forget about this time lapse, etc. You have to take a pragmatic approach, not a pedantic approach. And therefore, all those cases where you require amendments in your returns either by way of 3B, GSTR 1, GSTR 9, etc., etc., you must file a manual application for amendment of those returns, and the officer is bound to take, because this GST tribunal has said so. Okay. And he has to act upon it. He cannot give that effect, of course, on the system. Maybe that is not possible. But in your assessment, appeals, adjudication, they have to give the effect of that amendment. That is what that particular amendment will have effect. So matter to be relooked by the proper officer, rights to amend returns recognized, and condonation of delay expressly permitted for this amendment applications. Okay. Then what is the strategic value of this amendment application to taxpayers? So it forms firstly a precedent to seek manual amendments. This judgment forms a precedent to seek manual amendments in GSTR 1(3)B in mismatch cases. Section 74 cannot apply where full disclosure exists in the books. Timelines not absolute when no mens rea established. And the prayer should be remand with liberty to file manual amendment applications in all your GST 80 appeals, wherever you require these amendments. That prayer is now a recognized prayer in one judgment to be made in all the appeals. The second fallout of that particular observation is 74 not invocable when a books of accounts have completely disclosed these transactions, though your returns may not disclose it. So expression 74 clearly defines what is suppression. Suppression means non-declaration of facts or information returns required to be furnished. Disclosure in books with supporting documents negates this suppression. GST 80 clearly says if it is disclosed in the books of accounts, there is no requirement that it should be disclosed in returns, and therefore no suppression can be made out in those cases. Non-disclosure in returns is purely compliance or procedural lapse. It does not amount to a suppression. Suppression can be only if it is not found in a books of accounts. And that is very critical, because you see, audit mein jab bhi aate hai log, I can accept some people in state department, but central department invariably in all cases of audit also they invoke section 74. Right? So for them, those cases will be very pertinent to, this judgment will be pertinent in those cases that merely from books of accounts they are demanding raising any demand that cannot amount to suppression under 74. Though all those cases will be automatically to be converted into 73. Now, whether they convert to 73 also, how to convert, what will the effect of it, we'll see in the way forward. Okay. Then, under para 26 of this judgment, every honest taxpayer should be protected and given proper hearing before saddling him with penalties and interest. This is again in respect of section 74. So, protection is warranted if no intention to evade payment of taxes established by the department. And second, opportunity for bona fide cases, that is by way of an amendment, etc., should be allowed. It cannot be that directly you will saddle them with huge penalties and interest for a rectifiable error. The tribunal in very clear words says, we take a pragmatic view and shun a pedantic approach. Law not intended to punish rectifiable mistakes. One should consider practical difficulties faced by the taxpayers and focus on tax compliance, not penalizing procedural lapses. The GST 80 has given a very excellent observation in this regard. It is going to help us in all the cases going forward. And also, if you see, this judgment is only by the president, not even by division bench. Only judicial member, the highest authority, of course, in the GST 80. Right? So you can see that when it comes from the president's bench, everybody down the line in all the benches will have to some or the other way follow this. So what will be the pragmatic approach is allow rectifications, penalties only for fraud and substance over form. You do not go directly, close your eyes and only look at whatever are the mistakes. If they are rectifiable, please allow those rectifications. Substance is greater than form. Whereas what the department is strictly saying is, we will not go beyond the timelines. We will not give any second chance to rectify your returns, etc. They will go over the form over substance. That if you have made any mistake in your return, you have to deal with it. You have to pay the amount. We will not allow you to rectify. That is what the GST 80 says. Don't go by that approach. Go by the pragmatic approach. Then comes the fallout of the 74 to 73 conversion. In that case, Sterling Wilson, the first appeal officer applied his logic and he redetermined the tax under 73. Essentially, there was no liability which was getting any disturbed by that, but only penalty from 100% came down to 10%. But whether that is correct, so the GSTT has examined it in detail under section 75(2) also and held that only original proper officer who issued 74(1) notice shall redetermine the tax under 73. The first appeal officer cannot do it. What does it actually mean? All cases where the tribunal is of the view or the first officer is of the view that 74 is wrongly invoked, he has to merely remand that matter back to the proper officer for redetermination under section 73. He cannot himself determine anything under section 73. Meaning thereby, he can only make an observation that 74 is wrongly invoked. I hereby set aside this order and send it back to the proper officer to redetermine under 73. He cannot make any observation on the merits of the case, according to me. Only he can say is 74 not applicable. Therefore, redetermination will go back to the proper officer. Once we win the case on that, in all cases, you will have a second round with the proper officer. There cannot be any shortcut to it. So this is also important to know. Clients बोलेगा कल client भाई आपने तो 74 में आप तो जीत गए तो वापस उसके पास क्यों जा रहा है? But that is not, there is no other way out. The only way is go back to the same officer and he will redetermine under 73. And then if again there is any demand, you will have to once again go in appeal against the 73 order. So there will be a circle in many cases. So clients should be aware of this, or we as consultants should explain them कि भाई ये वापस जा सकते हैं उसके पास. So appellate authority cannot recompute tax interest penalty. Matters must be remitted for fresh determination under section 73. And when we go under section 73, then the Pandora's box will again open. That is what our worry can be, because that is what clients' worry is. But then, I'll complete this. Well, appellate authority holds section 74(1) notice unsustainable. Tax shall be redetermined by proper officer. Same thing. Okay. And that 75(2) gives the power to send it back for redetermination. So can do, cannot do. We already saw that appellate authority can decide if 74 requirement satisfied and direct the remand with observations. He cannot quantify the tax demand, compute interest penalty in place of proper officer under 73. Now proper officer's fresh examination. Yes, that is what I'm going to take. The 75(3) itself says 75(2) itself says 3 years. Okay. Now forget about that for the time being. We are on the now jurisdiction issue. Because when we read section 75(2), it says 74 notice will be redetermined as if it is issued under 73. But 73 ka time limit gets over at 3rd year. If let's say that 74 notice originally was issued after the completion of 3 years, then the entire case becomes time barred. Okay. Now this is something which will be argued in future cases. Okay. We don't have in this case probably because we see that the order in original in this case was of 2021 of 1819. That means notice must have been issued within the 3-year time limit. Therefore, this point did not came up in this particular Sterling Wilson case itself. When it comes in a proper case, the tribunal will definitely give their findings on that, because once it goes back for determination under 73, then it is like fresh adjudication under a notice issued in 73 on the date on which it was issued on 74(1).
Just like it happened in 73(1), no? In CSTAT.
No, that is different.
Extended period, very different.
So that is little different. Under CSTAT, when we say that whatever, so when the tribunal says that extended period is not invocable, still they have the power to tax you for the period which is falling within the limitation period. Okay, so they'll do a backworking. वो order से backwork करेंगे, notice से backwork करेंगे, और जो भी limitation के अंदर आता रहेगा उस period का वो लोग demand निकाल सकते हैं. Here it is a slightly different issue. Here we have to see on the date on which 74-1 notice was issued, whether that 73-1 notice is within time or not. If it is beyond time limit, then the entire case of the department goes. And CGST audit notices, 100% of the cases are beyond time limit. 100% of the cases. Because they take 5 years audit together. They come only after the 3-year period is over. So all your time limits over there are gone. So once this particular thing, if we win as taxpayers, then CGST department का तो बेड़ा पार है. Late is. Which forum? Once the first appellate authority or GSTD says 74 is wrongly invoked, they will send it back for redetermination. Before the proper officer, you have to take this ground that 73 notice is time barred, you cannot assess me now. If he still assesses you, then you have to go in appeal. Appellate authority does not have the power to determine under 73, as I already explained. GSTT has made that observation. So they cannot go even the jurisdiction issue of 73. They can merely remand the back saying 74 is wrongly invoked. You go back to the proper officer, let him decide whether 73 is proper or not.
In general, the first appellate authority does not have the power to remand. So, okay, only in cases where section 74 is converted to 73, there only the remand will happen. In other cases, remand will not happen. They themselves will have to execute.
Yes, so that is because 75(2) gives that power to send it back to the original authority.
So I just want to bring that point that, so this will be applicable
Yes.
only where there is a conversion from
Yes.
74 to 73. In other cases, it will not be applicable.
What sir is saying, Pranav bhai is saying is that जहां पे भी आपका first appellate authority को firstly there is no power to remand. They have to be the proper officer and adjudicate and pass final order themselves. Those central वाले appeal officers think that we are not here sitting over as a adjudicating officer. Why will we do? Why will we verify? That is what they say this. हम वेरिफिकेशन क्यों करेंगे? हाँ नीचे का है. नीचे नहीं ऊपर वाले का हाईकोर्ट वेरीफाई करेगा, मैं नहीं करेगा. नीचे वाले तो नहीं किया इसलिए उसके पास गए. बोलते नहीं वो नीचे नहीं किया तो मैं क्या करूं, ऊपर वाला करेगा, मैं क्यों करूं. So, but what sir is saying is that normally they do not have the power to remand back, but in view of section 75(2), read with the observation that 74 is wrongly invoked, it will go back to the proper officer.
But center unfortunately is remanding back irrespective of.
वो सिर्फ रिफंड वाले में, वो सिर्फ रिफंड वाले मैटर्स में, अदरवाइज नहीं करता है. अदरवाइज तो कंफर्म करके आगे भेज देता है. रिफंड उनको देना नहीं है इसलिए वो रिमांड करेगा. So, but overall what I see is that जो भी सेंट्रल में है ना, मतलब ये इस कंट्री में there are two kinds of assessees. One who are under state jurisdiction, one who are under central jurisdiction. जो state jurisdiction में है उनके लिए सब straight forward है. उनका year wise assessment होता है, adjudication होता है, no back and forth. Whatever is being done in the adjudication order, you go in appeal. The appellate officer also sees entirely. In fact, they go beyond the points in the show cause notice. Okay, ये भी issue है, ये भी issue है. हाँ. So ये भी issue है, ये भी issue है. Even though they cannot raise any demand, but anyways, but they will not have to go back. Okay. Whereas जो assesses central jurisdiction में है, वो ऊपर नीचे खेलते रहेंगे. Okay, पिंग पोंग. वो appellate वाला बोलेगा 74 नहीं है, अभी ट्राइब्यूनल बोलेगा 74 नहीं है, वापस से नीचे जाएगा. और नीचे जाने वाले को आप बोलोगे कि टाइम बार्ड है, वो तो मानने वाला है नहीं क्योंकि उस पे आएगा, इसलिए वो कंफर्म करके वापस आगे भेज देगा. आप बीच में सोए नहीं रहते ना, तो शायद आपको पता होता है आंसर. आंख बंद करके सो रहे थे. प्रॉपर ऑफिसर्स फ्रेश एग्जामिनेशन. अच्छा, ऑन अनदर थिंग, 74 में अगर प्रॉपर ऑफिसर ने को भेज दिया वापस से, सो वेदर ही कैन go to the entire records and re-raise the entire demand? According to me, no. he can only restrict himself to the show cause notice, not go beyond the show cause notice. Okay. So we want to have that provision, but unfortunately, no. We'll have to एक representation करते हैं उस पे भी. Yeah. तो सेंटर वाला लड़ाई में ऐसा खत्म हो जाएगा, मतलब ऊपर नीचे लड़ता रहेगा, उसी में खत्म हो जाएगा बेचारा सीसी. So key takeaways from this particular judgment: GST is final fact-finding forum. Technical defects in appeals are condonable. Now, what do you mean by technical defects and that para 1? I don't know. Section 74 inapplicable when transactions disclosed in books. Right to amend returns with delay condonation recognized. Pragmatic over pedantic approach mandated. Honest taxpayers are not penalized for rectifiable errors. Section 75 to remand mandatory when 74 unsustainable. The first operative officer cannot redetermine the tax and use this as precedent for GST 1 versus 3B mismatch cases. In all those cases, this judgment will directly apply.
For disclosed in books, can we say that, let's say during 9C, you had uploaded full financials? Can you take that argument?
Disclosed in books means the transaction was disclosed in books. तूने scan copy लगा दिया, does that mean disclosed in books? उसका एंट्री आया कि नहीं? अच्छा, उसमें नीचे डाला हुआ रहेगा विद नोट कि ये क्रेडिट नोट मेरा बुक्स में एंट्री रह गया है, लेकिन मैं जो ये पीडीएफ चढ़ा रहा हूं उसमें मैं दे रहा हूं, इसका यहाँ पे इफेक्ट आएगा, तो बात अलग है. Disclose means the effect of that should be have already been made in your books of accounts, though you have not made in the returns.
So in 9C, we also upload disclosure, like a notes to the 9C. उसके अंदर reconciliation भी है 2A2B वाला सब कुछ, और ये सब notes.
That is also in. So that is also one way of disclosure. That is also. So that was not in question over here. Here the question was कि मैंने books में दिखाया है. Just because I have raised not shown in my returns, whether that amounts to 74 directly. There the tribunal said that no. Once it is effect is already given in books of account, there is no intention to get payment of tax. The other way is मैंने books में नहीं दिखाया, लेकिन मैंने 9C में बराबर disclose कर दिया है. There again the department cannot say because we have disclosed it, you did not go to 9C within 3-year period. So way forward, all conversion cases must be remanded to the proper officer under section 74(2). Proper officer is your adjudicating officer, sir.
That you are saying, no, he has to enter as a judicial officer. Appellate has to enter as a judicial officer and pass the order. That's our basic issue, whether it is a proper officer.
No, he is not a proper. As such, all are proper officers under the act. But here the proper officer means the person who has issued the notice to you. 73 का 74 का जो notice issue करता है ना.
In the VAT, that again remand back first.
हाँ, VAT में एक्चुअली पावर नहीं है फर्स्ट सेपरेट को रिमांड करने का, आपको पता है? वो गलत करते हैं. VAT में एक्चुअली द कंपल्सरी पावर इज टू सेंड इट टू असेसिंग ऑफिसर by the tribunal. I'm saying if you go to that section 10, but forget that there are judgments on that. But here I'm making it clear as per the GST observation, it will go back to the proper officer who issued notice under 74 or 73 to you. Appellate officer never issues notice under 70 or 74 to you. Okay.
Section 75 is not you say in that case. And the tribunal wants to remand it.
That is within the power of tribunal. No? They may send it to first level officer or the proper officer, whatever tribunal decides, deems fit. There is no bar on not sending it to the first appellate officer or to the proper officer as far as tribunals powers under the 112 are concerned. They can do it to whoever they want. Then original proper officer must redetermine tax under section 73. Fresh opportunity of hearing mandatory before re-adjudication. Pre-deposit of refund. Okay, now एक ये भी important है. So once 74 में से 73 में convert हो गया, आपने already deposit करके रखा है. Whether they can keep that deposit till the time 73 order is passed, according to me, no. Once 74 order is cancelled, there is no demand against you till the 73 order is passed. that deposit which has been made by you earlier has to be refunded back to you. But CGST में क्वेश्चन ऐसा है ना कि हर चीज के लिए आप एप्लीकेशन करो. There is nothing automatic. वो एप्लीकेशन के सामने वो रिजेक्ट करके उसके सामने भी अपील करो. So it is a vicious circle. So pre-deposits made for filing appeals to First Step Authority and GST need to be refunded according to me. Matter remanded is equal to no final determination of liability yet. Apply for refund of pre-deposit amount with interest. 6% interest is applicable. And if they don't give, then 9% also is there. And Section 54 CGST Act, refund of unutilized amounts has to be granted to you. Then way forward, if suppose you have made the pre-deposit through credit, whether they will give you in cash or credit. किधर है लॉ में किधर है सर्कुलर विल नॉट गवर्न द लॉ नो एक्ट में कहीं पे भी ऐसा लिखा नहीं है कि क्रेडिट में तुमने प्री-डिपॉजिट किया तो तुमको क्रेडिट में देना चाहिए या फिर कैश में नहीं देना चाहिए हाँ
नोटिस निकालते हो you have wrongly issued in cash, please return in करके नोटिस आया है.
बट व्हाई इट इज रॉन्ग वो क्वेश्चन करो उनको. There is no bar under the law. They have two options, either to issue a notice or to go in appeal against the law. But appeal तो नहीं हो सकता ना इसके सामने. Execution, this is not decree which they are challenging. It is execution of the decree. So that cannot be appealed. Correct. So manual application with justification for delay. अच्छा sorry. Way for return amendment applications. हाँ. So ये एक पहले तो कर देना चाहिए अभी. File amendment application within 30 days of GST order publication. Can it be filed for all periods until now? Yes, based on GST precedent allowing delay condonation. File in all periods. Whether it is 1890, 1920, 2021 क्या फर्क पड़ता है? जो भी मिस्टेक हुआ है वो करेक्ट करने आप सिस्टम दे नहीं रहा है तो आई विल फाइल अ मैनुअल एप्लीकेशन. लेट देम रिजेक्ट इट अकॉर्डिंग टू मी. Manual application with justification for delay beyond statutory timeline and proper officer directed to consider amendments application on merits. Then contesting limitation on redetermination. So we already discussed this that 73 में अगर redetermine करना है तो you have to contest the limitation issue at that time and original limitation under 73 may be time barred. Argue limitation cannot be extended retrospectively for re-adjudication. Correction after statutory limits. GST is the established principle. Honest taxpayers deserve protection. Opportunities to correct mistakes even after statutory time limit expires. That is 32(4) का जो time limit था वो 34(2) का time limit था. फिर भी उन्होंने बोला कि credit note consider करो on merits. So para 27 में clearly say you have to adopt pragmatic approach, not pedantic approach. Substantial justice favored over procedural technicalities for rectifiable errors. Then GST as final fact-finding authority. I think we can skip this. Challenging automatic suppression allegations. But they are doing it in this case. That नहीं, they say that. नहीं 100% है. मैं बताता हूँ मैं. That is what very important, no? मतलब the entire approach changes if that is not there. I'll show you. किधर गया यार वो? Okay. See. Para 27. In our considered view, where every honest taxpayer should be protected and if it is held, he has no intention of evading tax by submitting wrong data or misinformation or fraudulent misinformation, having intent to evade tax, then he should be given a proper hearing before saddling him with penalties and interest. In the ultimate analysis, if a person has paid the tax and if it is accepted that taxes have been paid because of timeline, actually comma galat aa gaya hai. If it is accepted that taxes have been paid because of timeline, his argument is not heard, then he should be given another opportunity to argue his point of view.
So this timeline is of the hearing and not of 34.2. That is my.
According to me, it will be 20 because it says except that taxes paid. It is not saying that yours is an ex parte order and therefore that timeline.
The order, fundamentally, they are referring to that only because the proper officer had not given proper opportunity to the taxpayer. So possibly because the taxes are properly paid, it is like they are not referring to.
Yeah, opportunity तो किधर में नहीं लिखा. In fact, if you see in that same para, if you see after that COVID wala thing, though we are not, हाँ, so इधर देखिए ना इसमें next page पे देखिए, we are though not applying the principle, would like to take a pragmatic view and to shun a pedantic approach in the matter. While examining order passed by the learned first authority, it was also noticed by this tribunal that at concluding paragraph, the authority has converted the proceedings under so and so. I don't know. मतलब यही पैरा है जो है वो. Sorry. इसके पहले पैरा 26. Sorry, वो भी देखिए. The learned first appellate authority has come to the conclusion that the view taken by the learned proper officer that timeline prescribed under subsection 2 of section 34 that such credit notes cannot be taken into consideration to decide whether there is short payment of tax. This is the para which is explained in para 27. So that timeline is referring to 34.2 only. वही तो मजा है वरना मजा नहीं है इसमें. Okay. Yes, automatic. Immediate action plan, file amendments. Suppression हो गया ना?
Take the question now.
हाँ, direct question ले लो.
Yeah, if the first appeal is rejected due to time barred, can GSTAT entertain the second appeal?
No. The answer is no. Unless the government steps in and amends the law, the tribunal does not have the power to condone the delay which happened in the first appeal.
But then still, you should appeal.
That is another thing. The question only says whether the GSTAT has the power to condone the delay or not. No. It does not have the power.
The,
Remedy is, firstly, you have to contest whether there's a delay or not. Because there are line of decisions in tribunal, high courts under GST itself that merely uploading on the website is not proper service. So they have to follow at least 2-3 methods to say that there's a proper service. Now, if that becomes a rule, Supreme Court affirms it, that becomes a rule. If that becomes a rule, then those who have not taken that ground will be in problem. So first thing you have to do is contest that. Second you have to do is factually also, in many cases we have seen that emails had gone to some other email ID because at the time of registration, somebody else's email ID we have given. So therefore they never received any intimation. Okay, so even that is a valid ground for saying that. Specifically in cases where their numbers are cancelled. Okay, so they never get any, once their number is cancelled, they are not going to get any intimation unless they go and check. Once I've cancelled my number, I am not going to go and check this GST portal. मेरे को क्या सुबह शाम portal थोड़ी खेलना है. तो might में बोला.
and here Mr. Jagdish Sharma says you can go for a writ.
Writ में कैसे करेंगे? लेकिन what will be the ground for writ? Because already the high courts have held that you cannot file a writ just because your matter is the appeal is delayed. There has to be a ground. Either you say that there was no proper service, or you may say that beyond, even if there was a proper service, I had some difficulty, I could not, it is beyond my this hands and I could not file the appeal within time. All those things, grounds have to be there. Merely filing writ is not the solution at all. Because Supreme Court has clearly stated in GlaxoSmithKline, Once it is delayed, there can be no condonation beyond the act.
Okay, thank you. Then same question that when the issue is common and very well known to department, why screenshot is needed?
Screenshot is for you and not for the department. वो तो GSTR 1996 सब कुछ ऑनलाइन मिलता है, फिर भी मांगते हैं ना आपके पास प्रिंट आउट वो भी. So screenshot is for you to prove your case, your evidence that I had applied for it or I had attempted and it is not happening.
And the next question is relating to that 6 lakh matter. 10% of disputed tax remaining means still disputed tax liability. Now you are disputing 60 lakhs, 10% have to pay 6 lakhs or 8 lakhs.
I am disputing 80 lakhs. I am not disputing 60 lakhs, firstly. So the question is whether remaining disputed amount would be 60 lakhs or 80 lakhs in my example. Firstly, I am disputing entire 80 lakhs. That is another thing that I have paid 20 lakhs, which is appropriate towards the 80 lakhs. But my dispute is regarding 80 lakhs. It is not going down. It will be a very huge loss to the client. We cannot say that dispute is only of 60 lakhs.
Okay. And now in that case, same case, whether writ can be filed or not, that you already replied. Yeah. What is the what is the meaning of GSTAT if for conversion of section 74 to 73, going again back to the proper officer?
But that's the law which has been formulated in such a way. GST cannot help it. In fact, state has been doing it. 74 mein jo bhi notices tha, they are sending it back for 73 redetermination. So they there is nothing wrong in that, according to me.
So that's the procedure. Anyone else? Any questions? If you all want to raise your hands, you can raise your hands.
Is there a concept of call book in GST?
No. But if they are putting in call book, better for us.
Should we tell them that you put in call book?
That is not in your hand. But that is for the same assessee. They are saying that in some other assessee, some same issue is there where they have gone in Supreme Court. Therefore, we will not follow the High Court order. We will put your case in call book. आपके लिए नहीं apply होता है. They have to pass an order in your favor and go in appeal to High Court or Supreme Court or wherever they have to go.
But they won't pass it our favor, so we have to go.
So once this matters come up, they are wrongly putting, according to me, in call book. There is no such call book provision under the GST law. It was there in the service tax law. That was also by way of a circular, not under, because there was no time limit for passing orders. Instruction dal diya tha. Here, there are time limits for passing orders. There are statutory time limits. They cannot, by way of 75(4), say that their time limits are extended till indefinite period. MIDC, redevelopment, everything.
So that's one question.
Rectification. Amendment to returns, yes.
Yeah, amendment to returns. But at what stage can be done?
आज भी कर दो.
नहीं, time नहीं पूछ रहा हूँ, stage पूछ रहा हूँ. Because
Any stage.
now I already filed as GSTAT this thing. Now I can do a rectification
Yes.
for the return.
And when you are appearing before GST, tell them I have already applied for the rectification. You can do that.
Now, if that the order has passed, that from 12% it goes to 4% calculation as per the order, which was wrongly charged. So how do you, it has gone back to the proper officer, and if he calculates, so what do you do with that refund amount? How do you take that refund? And the deposit has also been paid.
क्या था query क्या था?
They had charged 12% on a particular purchase. I mean, this is like a matter, and it had gone to the High Court, and then they gave that order that they will recompute it at 4%.
So you are talking about a VAT matter or GST matter?
No, GST.
4% कौन सा rate है?
So they said 2.5 and 2.5 again.
Okay.
So what happens to that difference, and how do you get back? Do you take that from the deposit? From the deposit, what they had paid for the appeal and all? Can you?
नहीं, लेकिन आपने already 5% भर दिया होगा ना?
Yeah. So how do you take that refund of that?
Entire amount should be refunded to you. File an application for this refund of pre-deposit amount.
Pre-deposit also, along
Nothing
with
will
that.
be adjusted. ना आपने already 5% से भर दिया है ना?
Yeah, that is already paid.
So they had raised a differential demand of 7%. Let's say, तो 7% का आपने 10% ₹7 भरा होगा.
Yeah.
बराबर है, वो 7 रुपया
No,
पूरा
but
का पूरा
you
रिफंड मिलेगा.
get through that online, the refund, same procedure, or is there a
सेम एज
separate?
पर दी अपलेट ऑर्डर और एज पर दी ऑर्डर करके है ना कैटेगरी.
Okay.
राहुल सर,
हाँ. यस.
इधर से
हाँ हाँ.
what is the line of GSTAC in the fact finding and verification? Many times they remand back the cases for verification. And what is the fact
जीएसटी में नहीं हुआ अभी तक, एक ही हुआ है.
नहीं, वही बोल रहा हूँ, व्हाट इज द लाइन? अभी उन्हें रिमांड बैक कर दिया तो मैं बोला फैक्ट फाइंडिंग आप ही चेक करो.
कराओ ना आप.
हाँ वही तो बोल रहा हूँ, क्या है?
आपको मतलब वो रिमांड करके दे रहा है, रिलीफ दे रहा है, वो नहीं चाहिए. आपको चाहिए कि वो बैठ के जज प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ द जीएसटी शुड सिट एंड चेक ईच एंड एवरी ट्रांजैक्शन एंड गिव यू फाइनल रिलीफ ओवर देयर एंड देयर. ट्राई करो.
सुनील, थोड़ा सा एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कन्वीनियंस अपने को देखना पड़ता है. नाउ आवर एक्सपीरियंस फ्रॉम वैट ट्राइब्यूनल इन मोस्ट केसेस, वो आपके फेवर में अगर एक चीज बोल दिया, वो कैलकुलेट नहीं कर सकता अनलेस आपका एक ऐसा ऐसा इश्यू है कि ये लगेगा या नहीं लगेगा, तो भी बोलेगा नहीं लगेगा. इवेंचुअली फाइनली वेरीफाई तो उसको जज थोड़ी वो कैलकुलेटर लेके बैठेगा. बट what verification also can happen now, that we'll have to see if it happens in GSTAT. If there is a record that you have called for, इसके अंदर ट्राइब्यूनल रेगुलेशन में है record you have called for. If there is certain record which is admitted, तो वो आप इंस्पेक्शन के टाइम पे वो सामने वाला भी देखेगा आपके साथ में.
If he agrees to you,
If he agrees,
if VR agrees to
If
you,
he
then
agrees
okay,
to you.
no, this,
But ये
calculation देना है आपको.
हाँ,
But if suppose there are certain documents you are producing for the first time before GST 80, उसका वेरिफिकेशन जीएसटी से आप एक्सपेक्ट करते हो, तो मेरे हिसाब से आपका इस दुनिया में कोई काम नहीं होएगा.
no, they will not do. They
It
will
is
not
what
do.
happens. What is the first appellate order jurisdiction officer doesn't apply or maliciously pass the order. So then that scenario again going to that officer and saying this is the document I
नहीं,
produced
उसका-
and you again verify that.
Correct.
Sunil,
So you will get a remand back order with specific direction to that officer to re-verify that whatever you have not done or verify whatever you have not done, and you can also ask for cost. कि आपके वजह से मेरे को एक राउंड जीएसटी का करके वापस नीचे आना पड़ा. But to expect GST to verify it, each and everything, that judge sitting and doing it, according to me, it is too much to expect.
And Sunil, say for example, I'll tell you, आप जो बोल रहे हैं ना, you are right. If there is a rate of tax dispute, okay, suppose let us presume there is a rate of tax dispute, and the liability there is a rate of tax which is there is a RICO issue, everything. In rate of tax dispute, the tribunal is with you, and they said that instead of 18%, 12% is leviable because तभी का period है. तो अभी आप जब नीचे जाओगे उसके पास, वो कितना भी मेलिशियस होने दो, वो 18% नहीं लगा सकता आपके ऊपर, उसको 12% ही लगाना पड़ेगा. उसको बुरा लगे लगने दो. और बहुत टाइम लगता है नीचे के ऑफिसर्स को, फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, फर्क नहीं पड़ता है.
नहीं सब वो क्या होता है, प्रमोट होके उधर आ जाता अपीलेट में. प्रमोट होके अपीलेट में आ जाता है.
चलो, I think with this I can.
Under composition, the officer passed the adjudication order demanding ITC reversal, and it is not available on debit note issued by the supplier. Appeal is rejected as time barred. Remedy, please.
वो इशू जंप हो गया बहुत सारा, मतलब समझ में नहीं आया. कंपोजिशन का इशू है.
Last question. Chat box.
पहले तो कंपोजिशन का डीलर है, तो आईटीसी का सवाल किधर आता है? अच्छा, कंपोजिशन सब डिसअलाउ किया है तो मतलब उसको पहले तो वो अपील, अच्छा सबसे पहले तो अपील टाइम बार्ड है तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता है, वो भूल जाओ. तो यू जस्ट कीप फाइटिंग. One day when the government recognizes that we should extend the time limit for everybody, that is when your appeal will be within time, and that is when you can have something on merits. Otherwise, there is no case in this case. Or you wait for amnesty.
Going to office again, totally time consuming and demanding, acting and more appeal for 74.
मेरे को दे दो ना, मैं रोज जाता रहता हूँ ऑफिसर के पास.
नहीं नहीं, किसको प्रॉब्लम है भाई? वो
मेरे को दे दो, मैं रोज
क्या
जाता हूँ.
तकलीफ है महाशय को?
That is my bread and butter. I will be happy to do that. चलो, थैंक यू. यहाँ तो हाँ, ओके ओके.
Now I would request my joint convener Ajay Talreja to give a hearty vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we conclude today's session, I stand before you for the most pleasant task of giving a vote of thanks. Sincerely thank our speaker for today, Advocate Rahul Thakkar, for sharing his valuable views on the first GSTAT judgment. I would also like to thank my fellow professionals and colleagues here in the audience as well as online for their interaction and insightful questions. I'm sure we all leave today better equipped in the ever-changing and evolving GST landscape on the basis of analysis of this judgment by a sharp legal eagle advocate Rahul Thakkar. Thank you one and all. Now we all rise for the national anthem. मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे